Hey everybody, welcome to the Vibe with Kai podcast. It's your boy Kai, and today I want to talk about something. It is a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and that is Black mental health awareness. Listen, growing up in Hamilton, New Jersey, which is right outside of Trenton, New Jersey, for those of you that don't know, mental health it wasn't something that was talked about, right? Mental health was kind of like this distant cousin, this distant relative that you never really knew existed, but they keep showing up to the family reunions somehow, and you're like, wait, are you part of the family? I think you are, maybe, I don't know, but like that's what mental health was to me, at least. And whether it be in school, whether it be at work, whether it be in life in general, at church, wherever it may be, the topic was never mental health, right? Even in sports, especially in sports, we would always talk about physical health, and mental health would always take a back seat. And it was fascinating because even when I would go to my primary care doctor, right, when I would do a physical checkup of some sort, it was always about the physical health. It was never about the mental health side. Now, at the time, I wasn't really thinking much about it. I really wasn't. Like, I was like, okay, like this is just what life is. But as I look back, I'm 36 now. As I look back on everything, I'm just like, wow, this is probably a conversation that we should have been having. We probably should have been having this, especially in the Black community, because there is a humongous stigma when it comes to mental health in the Black community. Now, that's not to say that there isn't stigma in other communities, or that the stigma in the Black community is more important than other communities. But I'm a Black person, I'm a Black man, and I want to speak from just my own experiences and knowledge and all of that. So I want to talk about the Black side of things when it comes to mental health and the stigma surrounding it. It's kind of like this silent struggle, right? um Growing up, I feel like my experience mirrored so many other people in my community, right? Discussions about mental health, it was just so incredibly rare. I tell people all the time, there were three people, I should say, that I looked up to the most: athletes, musicians like hip hop artists and R&B, and my father. None of those three were talking about mental health, at least not openly, right? Like there were no rap songs, like Biggie, Tupac didn't have a rap song called "Let's Talk About My Mental Health, Baby, Baby." Like it wasn't a thing. ADHD, yay, yay. Like it just wasn't a thing that was talked about. And I realized looking back at it that we all kind of wore these like emotional masks. A lot of us still do. And these masks concealed this constant pain, this constant internal struggle within ourselves emotionally. And underneath of these masks, there is this narrative that 100% needs to be heard. It needs to be talked about. I saw this study the other day by I don't know, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know it's an acronym, but SAMHSA. I should probably hold on, hold on. I should probably look up what it actually stands for, because that would be really beneficial. Because this is a really important stat that I found about about mental illness in the Black community. Um, I really I forgot to look up what it actually stands for. There we go. Oh, I knew that. Oh, SAMHSA. It stands for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. It's a government entity, and saw this study that they did that stated that 16% of Black and African American people reported having a mental illness. Now, those are just the people that reported having a mental illness, let alone acknowledge, let alone be educated about it in the first place. And it just shows that we just don't talk about this as much as we should. There's, I think, just like a shadow that follows us, like the Black community. It kind of follows us around because there's been this historical dehumanization of Black and African American people, and it's left these deep scars, these deep generational scars, that they're not just stories from the past. These are things that have happened that just follow us into the present. It's like if you were to cut your arm really bad, yeah, your arm might heal, but there's always going to be that scar there that reminds you of what happened, that traumatic moment that happened in your life. It's the same thing for communities, especially in the Black community. There's this dehumanization that we've had to deal with in our world, and it's left these deep scars that have followed us into today, and that's affected our mental health. It's affected it in ways that often go unspoken. So it's for that reason that, I mean, we need to break this stigma. We need to break this stigma. We really do, because there's so many narratives out there, and I feel like the mental health stigma in the Black community, it's kind of like a brick wall that we've been building brick by brick by brick by brick by brick, and I think we need to dismantle that. The question is, how do we dismantle that? How do we go about doing that? I think there are three ways that we can do this. Number one, speak up. We need to speak up and just have the conversation in the first place, in our homes, at work, in our communities, wherever it may be. We need to speak up at church, at sporting events, whatever it may be. We need to have the conversations in the first place. Number two, we need to educate. We need to educate. The easiest way to break any stigma in any community about anything is to just educate people, have people that know what they're talking about, have the education that can be spread amongst that community. In our case, the Black African-American community, right? It's not just about physical health. It's about mental health. I personally feel that mental health is just as important as physical health, if not more important, in my opinion. So number one, speak up. Number two, educate. Number three, we need representation. We need representation. We need more Black and African American mental health professionals in our world. We don't have any. Like, they're out there, but it's so surprised. You'd be surprised how few and far between Black mental health professionals there are out there. When I first started looking for a new therapist in 2022, I wanted to find a Black male, right? Because I just felt like a Black male would be able to understand more about what I was dealing with, what some of the thoughts that was going on in my head, and I couldn't find one. And the ones that I did find were booked for like years and years to come. Like, it was just impossible to get an appointment with them. I live right outside of Philadelphia, one of the biggest cities in the country, and I was speaking from a position of privilege where I have these mental health resources that a lot of people don't have. I have a full-time job that gives me benefits, and I'm able to afford to go to therapy weekly and biweekly. It was hard for me to find a Black mental health professional to speak with. Imagine how difficult it is for people that don't have the resources that I have. It's next to impossible. That's not okay. We need more representation in the Black community when it comes to mental health professionals. I don't know how to fix that. I really do. I wish I was more well-versed on that. I don't know how to fix that kind of thing. But I feel like people that look like us are able to understand our unique experiences a little bit better. Now, that's not to say that, for example, white therapists can't empathize, because they do. My therapist, I love her to death. She's a white woman in Jersey. Love her to death. She's been like legitimately my savior this year, because 2023 was quite a year for me. She knows everything and anything about all the things that I was dealing with. Lord knows how many times I cried in front of that person. I've cried in front of her so many times because I just didn't know. I felt so lost. I didn't know what to do with my life, with what direction I was going in. And she is a white woman, but she was able to empathize. So I'm not here to say that white people cannot empathize, but man, how great would it be if you could find somebody that looks like you and has been through similar experiences as you to talk to you about things. How amazing would it have been for me personally if I was able to find a Black man who maybe played sports when they were younger, or a Black man who knows what it's like to date a white woman. I dated white women, and dating a white woman as a Black man, it is a thing that, man, we have to be conscious of every single thing that we do and say, how we present ourselves. Because a lot of times when it comes to Black men dating white women, we as Black men are not really ever given the benefit of the doubt, ever. I know that from personal experience. And it's hurtful because the minute that you fight back, you get the hashtag angry black man, angry man. And it's like, no, I just want to express my feelings. I want to talk about this because there's more to this. But that's neither here nor there. I just wish that I was able to speak with a person that looked like me, that have been through similar situations and could talk to me from a personal standpoint about what it's like. So, what can we do to break the stigma? Number one, speak up. Number two, educate. Number three, get more representation in the mental health community when it comes to Black and African American mental health. Now, I don't want you to think that like I have this like negative outlook to any of this. I really don't. I think that there is hope out there. There's tons of organizations. I found one's called the Black Emotional and Mental Health. It's like this wonderful organization. I'll include the link to it in the description of this podcast episode. Also, the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. There are tons of foundations and organizations just like that are beacons of hope, that are guiding us towards a future where mental health, it's not like this whispered secret. It is a thing that we all talk about. It's this shared journey in which people feel validated, in which people truly understand what it's like and that they're not alone. That's one of the reasons why I have this podcast. It's one of the reasons why I have a blog. It's one of the reasons why I put up content on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and all that, because I want my journey to be our journey. Our journey is my journey. I want us all to have these shared experiences. Like, I was well into my 30s as I was facing my own mental health battles. And in my 30s, I've often felt alone. I felt like I was walking through this dense fog, this incredibly dense fog. And those of you that live in the Northeast right now, you know that this weekend was full of fog, like literal fog, and driving home was not easy. So shout out to my Northeast family, my Northeast friends and family, because it was not fun to drive in any of this recently. But man, mental health wise, man, imagine that fog that we were driving in this past weekend in the Northeast. Imagine like that just in our brains every single day. That's what it was like for me, like as I entered my 30s and started going through my 30s. Because just as a reminder, I was diagnosed with severe depression, generalized anxiety disorder, and ADHD when I was 35, between 34 and 35. I'm 36 now. This is all very new to me. It took me nearly 36 years to have a conversation like this with you. 36 years. Man, if I was able to find somebody to have this conversation with me when I was struggling at 15, oof, good googly moogly. I feel like there is hope out there, because there are tons of content creators and podcasters and all these people that are this source of sun and that light within the fog that lets us know like what direction to head in. Like, we can't see exactly what the next step is, but at least we can see the light. We can see a faint light that we know we just need to walk towards that. For me, it took time. It took a lot of support. It took a lot of self-reflection, and I'm still working on it, but God damn it, here I am, man. Here I am talking to you about it, and it feels so freaking good. It really does. It really does feel good. So I'm starting this conversation. I want you to continue this conversation however you can. I want to make sure that nobody feels alone in their mental health journey. I want us to be able to share our story. So whenever you get an opportunity to share your story, please do. Share it with me, and I'll share it with the world, like whatever it may be. I want to hear it. Send me a DM, send me an email, hit me up, comment on my stuff. Let me know your story so that other people can understand that they're not alone in their journey. Whether it's a good story, not so good story, whatever it may be, share it, because you never know who it might help. You never know, honestly. Don't let the conversation end here. Go to my website, thevibewithkai.com. There's a tab on there that says Vibe with Kai Mental Health Resources Hub. I put tons of additional resources for everybody, but I added a section today that is tons of resources specifically for the Black and African American community. Just tons of mental health resources. Go check it out, thevibewithkai.com, mental health resources tab. It's all there. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. I'd be dumb if I didn't say this. If you're able to speak with a mental health professional, if you have the means to do so, please do. Mental health professionals are able to give you this insight and these tools and these resources that you can't get anywhere else, and it's specialized specifically for you. I can say from personal experience, it saved my life. It really has. So if you're able to do that, please go and do that. Remember, my friends, seeking help, no matter what community that you're in, it's a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. As always, much love, good vibes, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.